Hey guys, let's have a little talk about the stack. It's been a minute since I made any videos, actually more than a year probably, since a big in-depth what is the stack, how does it work video, and lots has changed with it. The actual product itself is still the same stack and still the same nice little thing, still the same weights. There's a little new radar that helps training. And the app itself has somewhat improved dramatically. So let's run through what it all is, how it's all changed, what I think after having it for 2 years and dealing with dozens and dozens and dozens of people with it, and what I've learnt. So, number one, the app, how has it changed? Well, number one, from a speed perspective, obviously the trainings are still the same. The programs are still all there, and there's more programs too. But what has really improved, I'd say the most, is the information about learning about speed training. There's actually a whole learn area now, and there are just insane amount of videos that Sash has made teaching you how to move, what to do, all the little bits and pieces that are going to help you develop speed. So, because what you'll find when you do speed training, I'd say the first, if you're naive to it, aka you've never done it, the first 6 to 12 weeks you're going to have this insane boost of speed as you go from full intent to learning max intent to just swinging fast, okay? And then when you're measuring your speed as you're swinging, you have this wonderful thing of you versus you as you're progressing, as you're charting everything in the app. You're just going to keep getting better, right? Because you're always measuring your progress, which is what the stack is all about. Measured progress. Measured progress. We eventually get there, right? So in here is just, you can just see, just an insane amount of information that you can go through and self-learn, so if you are so inclined, to help you just dramatically improve your speed, improve your technique, and actual how-to guide on how to use it and how to train for more speed. So that in and of itself is extraordinarily valuable. I've got to be honest. And everyone that has, if you're a stack user, look at it. Go through it. There's an amazing amount of helpful information in there. Kind of like Trackman University, just this unbelievable resource just sitting there waiting to be used. So that's number one. And then there's also a little bit on the putting, no doubt, that'll be populated with more and more and more. And then a bunch of the actual apps that are in, all the videos that are in the actual training itself. All the different drills, the single arm drill, the step drill, max intent, what it is, swing lead, tempo, full swing, blah, 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 blah. And I believe some of the Borgmeyer stuff is all in here. All Marty Borgie's training drills are all in there without having to switch out of a session to access the videos. It's all there. So from a learning perspective, the app is insanely better. Number one, which it was not anywhere near that educational or functional a year ago. So that is hugely beneficial. Next thing, stack putting. Perhaps will take off as many strokes off your game as speed training will. Unbelievable. In fact, let's go to the green and let's go and talk stack putting. Okay, so stack putting. What on earth is that all about? So in the process of making the stack, Sash came along and made stack putting, which is, this thing has the potential probably to gain more strokes or save more strokes in this case for players than speed training does. It's an amazing tool. So what we basically end up doing is, the basic idea is it turns putting gamified. You literally go ahead and start a putting session and it gamifies, it gives you 18 holes of putts in which you have to go around, and it'll say the first hole's 4 feet flat, left to right. You hit the putt, whether you make, miss, left or right, you say what you did. So it's teaching you a few skills. It's teaching you A, to read greens. You actually have to find the break, like what would be the second hole. Second hole is 10 feet flat, right to left, so you have to go and find a flat, left, right to left. The third hole is uphill 13 feet right to left. So you have to go and find these different putts and hit these putts. And then as you're going, it is gamifying your score. Strokes gained versus tour. You're also starting to learn the percentage of makes. How often should you be making these putts? So it's teaching you a ton of stuff. Plus it's fun because, you know, it gives you pressure from having a no reason 4-foot putt on the green. Suddenly you're having something you're grinding over. And when you go and hole a bomb or whatever, you get the little cheer of
nice one putt. 0.4 total strokes gained.
It makes the whole putting process fun. It's a great tool. And then when you get to it, after you're done with everything, you start to have some insights as to where you're good at putting, where you're bad at putting, what you need to practice. So if you do know you need to practice something, hey, this is the particular area that I'm good or bad at. It has all your rounds, your strokes gained stuff, all the bits and pieces. So it's creating some fabulous tools as to what you need to work on, where to practice. And if the only putting practice you ever did was stack putting, guess what? Not only are you going to hit bombs off the tee, you're going to hold more putts on the green. Unbelievably useful tool. All right, back to the studio. Okay. So, that's stack putting, right? Amazing. Just as a value add to something you're already paying for, no extra charge on top, you can actually get stack putting by itself if you so desire. Unbelievable product, super valuable for learning your putting. I can't say enough about it. Every athlete that uses stack should be using stack putting, and every one of my players that I work with personally that have stack, I keep saying, man, how's the stack putting going? How's the stack putting going? If it's the only putting practice you ever do, you're going to improve at putting. And if you then decide to work on your putting, you know exactly what to work on. Amazing, enough of that. What else is new? The radar. Now, obviously we always used to use the little black PRGR, which was cool, handy little unit, but they managed to make a radar that connects directly with the app. So you get the same quality of life that you would have when you're using a Mevo Plus or a Flight Scope unit, where you just swing and it automatically populate the numbers into the app. So when you're training, you don't have to go back and manually or spend half your time talking to the app, 105, 109, 92, whatever it is. You didn't spend your time and then it doesn't hear you and you have to go and put manually in. So it helps the speed training have a much better flow. Switch it on, automatically connects. Just super easy to use. So that's been a huge benefit. Not a cheap little launch monitor, pretty accurate. I find it reads a little bit, I feel like it reads a mile an hour, maybe even 2 club head speed quicker than the PRGR. Probably 1 mile an hour less than TrackMan. It's very close to 1 mile an hour more than TrackMan, sorry. It's kind of in between TrackMan and Foresight Sports, where it fits with club head speed. Ball speed, pretty close to. So you can definitely use it for other purposes, but for a speed training functionality, if you're just using it in the app for speed work or for warming up to know you at playing speed, amazing. The actual product held up after 2 years of abuse, wear and tear. Everything's great. I did put a little bit of, just a tiny bit of the old CRC, whether it's a good or a bad thing, I don't know, just up in the top here, so I could just keep it nice and smooth, so it just goes on without any like annoyingness, and you can give it a nice little spin. Close is always a nice feature, so just a little bit of that. The weights themselves, as you can imagine, after all this time, they all still look brand new. Nothing's changed there. I haven't lost any of them, which is great. But you know, you keep them in a little man bag pouch, and it goes everywhere in the golf bag that I go. So I can't say enough about the product. It certainly helps. It certainly works. What I do find from a personal perspective with training with it, I suppose, what would I have do, or what do I find for myself? I find that to do the sessions as consistently as they request, I find I might personally need a little bit more spacing between sessions. So like at the very end of it, or maybe like twice a week max for me, effectively. I find like right now I'm doing a big old speed push. I desperately want to get to 180 mile an hour ball speed this year from where I started, but this was like in the low 160s, so even high 150s, so it's a massive jump to give you some idea of the hunt. But I I find that with a big speed push of that, like 2 stack sessions, there may be a hitting session a week, you are done mentally and physically if you're putting in max intent. So I find at least once a week on a speed push, it's great. Mixed in with 1 or 2 other tools that I also use. It's another completely different video, but yeah, I can't say anything bad about it. It definitely works. It's definitely a useful tool. I am yet to see anyone not gain substantial speed with it, more so than they're ever going to pick up from a driver itself. And if you were going to do, the only thing I would say when it comes to, if you're going to go on that speed journey, is make sure you do a little bit of work on the technique. Now there's a whole bunch of information on the technique inside the app. So do the technique work, get the movement patterns that you're trying to increase the speed of first, is my preference. And then hammer the hell of the speed training, get your speeds way up, and then do the equipment last. Too many people do the equipment first, and then they do the speed training second and the technique last. It's not really the way you want to do it. I find that just because then the driver you buy now is not going to be the right driver for you after 6 months of this thing. You're going to be that much quicker. You're going to be a different shaft, a different weight of shaft, different loft, probably a different head design, and it'll give you the chance then to start to access more low spin heads with lighter shafts, and then suddenly you have this huge speed boost. You know, this might give you 20 meters over 6 months. Great. Getting the right delivery, the right angle of attack, and the right head gives you another 15 or 20 again. So you can, if you're a short to mid hitter, you can conceivably pick up like 40 meters in a year. It's crazy to even say that, but it is an achievable thing. So go ahead, have a look at the stack. Down below, I've got a link directly to their website with the discount code to help you guys out, get it cheaper on everything. The actual package, you can get the whole thing with a discounted rate there, which is great. But definitely check it out. Start to think about it. If not this year, maybe next year. But the sooner you start the speed journey for yourself, the better. Not just so you can be a long drive pro, don't even worry about that shenanigan. Just so you can become the best that you can be and enjoy golf the most, because I can guarantee you have so much more fun hitting it further. God, you know, reaching, for short hitters, reaching long par 4s and 2 that they never could. For medium hitters, suddenly being able to reach par 5s and 2 that they couldn't. And then for long hitters, that extra bit of fizz, you know, where they can start driving a few par 4s or having short irons into par 5s. It just makes golf fun. It's kind of like, should be Stack's thing, not everything you need for distance. Stack, making golf fun again. All right, I hope this is helpful. Any questions, please. I've been dealing with this with people now for a couple years, so I've started to really get my head around how everything works. And yeah, I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. Thanks for your time.